How your Mariners looking?
Looking good, man. Like, what, you trying to jinx me?
No, man.
Cut it out. Shh. Leave it alone. Next question.
Yeah, okay.
A home preseason game. What do you just hope to showcase to fans this time around?
You know, more than anything, I think we did it last time. It just we didn't do it for 48 minutes. The young team, the young fellas came in at second unit and played a fantastic game that got the crowd involved. You know, we want to protect home court. We want our fans to know that when they come into this gym, they're going to see something that makes them proud. You don't always win the game, but they do know what they're going to get when our team puts on the Sacramento Kings uniform.
And with Keegan Murray out, just what's your thought process and just filling his position? Who do you kind of want there?
Yeah, it's tough because Keegan brings, he's 6'8", he shoots a 40 ball from behind the line. Defensively, we can put him on the best player. He can switch 1 through 4. I mean, he's guarded Jokic, for God's sake. So it's by committee right now. But we experiment with a few guys, and we'll see how it goes. And this is what the preseason is for. And by the time we hit the regular season, it may be matchup based. We'll have to see how long Keegan's going to be out.
Have you decided what you're going to do tomorrow at that spot?
No, we haven't decided yet. We took a look at a couple different people, but we'll see tomorrow. And listen, sometimes you start one way and the game dictates that you do something else, and we just have to feel the game as we go.
What do you think it looks like with DeMar at the 4, quote unquote, if you guys decide to go small at times or even to start a game?
We don't know. I mean, obviously, he's going to have pretty much always an advantage on the offensive end. Defensively, depending on how big the guy is, we got to make sure that it might just be you make sure face guard and take him out of the play. The biggest key for us is we got to make sure that we rebound the basketball. That was one of the biggest things. Obviously, that is defense because the end of defense is the possession of the basketball. But DeMar is a veteran. He competes at a really high level, and we're expecting all of the guys, whoever's out there on the floor, to play to our identity, especially on the defensive end.
When you play the Clippers without, Keegan and having to try to fill in there, what kind of test is this going up against a team like that, and maybe the problems they pose as you try to figure this out?
Well, Collins comes in off the bench. He, 6'10", and Zubac is in there. Lopez. I mean, they have a lot of size, so we're going to have to see it, feel it, and then from there respond to how substitutions and the different things that we try to do. But all of these have been really good tests. I mean, Toronto came out with a style of basketball that you don't see a lot, and then you back it up with Portland, very similar to that. Now we're seeing a ton of size. So all of these things are good for us to put in the data bank, understand what we have, how we can adjust, the things that we can do during the game. But first and foremost, we have to play with gravity and put our imprint on the game. That's first and foremost. We don't always have to think about who we're playing against. We need to think about what we are trying to do. And then who you're playing against comes into play while the game is going on.
Are you and Scott looking at options off the roster right now in terms of free agents? Or?
You have to talk to Scott, man. You want me to answer Scott's question? Oh, you got to talk to Scott.
Right,
yeah, absolutely. No. I think always everything is open. We want to be as good as we can be. You got to look at all options.
What, Doug? We've seen your philosophical side like at times since you took over last year. What, and what you dealt with last year, what you're already seeing this year. Like, what do you tap into in terms of like your approach to adversity and how you guys deal with that?
It'll be interesting because this is our first thing that's hit us in the mouth is as far as someone getting hurt and one of our starters down, trying to see how the guys respond to that. I mean, me, I've played or been around this game pretty much my whole life, so I know what you have to do. You got to go play extremely hard and get after people, hold each other accountable. You can't have excuses. This is not an excuse-driven business, so it doesn't matter who's out there in the uniform. You have to figure it out, and that's hopefully what we want to see from our guys. That is the plan, because that goes along with playing to your identity. Don't worry about who's out there. This is how we play, and based upon that, now you can start to establish your identity, and as players come in, players get hurt, all of a sudden this is what it means to be a Sacramento.
Are they getting to understand, about your philosophy as far as, winning those two battles?
I think so. It's those are things that haven't been here prior. So all of habits take a while to break. So there's certain habits defensively that we do that we want to get rid of. There's certain habits offensively that we do we want to get rid of. And when it comes to that's the compete level. That's the willingness to get out there and sacrifice of yourself for your teammate. There's a physicality, there's a fighting through adversity, there's the mental aspect of it. There are a lot of different aspects of that, and it's difficult, but really good teams do it.
Doug, you're obviously trying to implement a lot in this training camp. The games themselves, does winning some of these games, losing all these games, does that do anything for the confidence going into the season, or is it pretty much a non-factor?
You know, I've seen teams lose every game in the preseason and win a championship. I've seen teams win every game in the preseason and win like 18. I think the Aces lost by over 30 and they just won the championship. So, like, when you think of how things go, you just have to stay in the moment, man. This training camp, playing, all those things, it's about us improving and creating an identity for ourselves. Do we want to win? Yes. But sometimes you can win and not really do what you need to do. And I think for us, as we establish, it's super important that we do it the right way, because, you know, winning can cover a lot of different things, and then as soon as you lose, everything falls apart because everybody's in their feelings and a lot of different things. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to establish something that can last, and that can be difficult. It's not something that's easy.
How much of a factor is keeping Domas out of foul trouble when you look at like what to do with Keegan out of the lineup and how you kind of protect Domas?
Yeah, I mean, just with your stars, period, you want to keep them out of foul trouble. But Domas in particular, because we play through him at the 5 in a lot of different ways now. He handles the basketball, anchor on the defensive end. You want to have that voice back there. It's super important, but again, we don't want to, go away from physicality and all those different things. We have to figure out once we start playing, we want to overdo the physicality. Whistle blows. We need to learn how to adjust to that, not the other way around where we're not really that physical. We try to get physical, and obviously then it's a foul. A lot of teams that you're seeing, they are so physical, ref can't call all of them, and that's just how it goes. And we have to get to that level so we don't, even though, I don't want him in foul trouble, we can't back away from the physicality and all those things that come with it.
What's these past few days been like? I know you guys kind of trying to make up for Keegan's absence.
I mean, it's basketball. It sucks for him, obviously. I've talked to him, but, you got to, it's sports. When one person goes down, somebody else gets the opportunity, and it really shows the demeanor of the team, And the teams I've played on, we've dealt with injuries every year. It's just something that you just have to get around, and it's terrible. But he'll come back, and then we just gotta figure out how to play from here.
Do you like what you're seeing, and as you guys kind of work through some things?
Say it again.
Do you like what you're seeing from your group as you kind of work through some things?
Yeah, I mean that's what training camp preseason's for. We've seen some things that we're not good at, some things that we are. So over these next 10 days, whatever it is before the season opener, we get a little bit more cleanup time.
Defensively, when you guys do with the spacing and trying to make sure you guys don't overcompensate, how do you guys kind of replicate that and make sure you guys are working on it?
With
like spacing in terms of three-point shooting, three-point defense, as well as like taking inside the court, making sure it's not one.
Yeah, I think every team you're not going to be able to take away everything, and then every team has their strengths and weaknesses. So from game plan to game plan, you got to figure out, if they're a three-point shooting team, how do you take that away? Or at least make it tough on them to try and switch it up. But that's the point of what we're doing. Is we're trying to disrupt anything that they're able to do and try to get us the ball back.
Those first couple games, you get kind of rhythm, kind of hot out in three-point land. Dennis have anything to do with that, as far as point guards or?
Dennis is great, but I shot 45% from 3 last year, so ain't nothing new.
You mentioned demeanor, and you learned a little bit about your team's demeanor. What are you seeing in that regard?
Our team's demeanor? I think we're a resilient team. We got some younger dudes and some older guys, but we're all trying to mesh and figure it out. Obviously, we put in a new offense, we put in a new defense. It's not going to look pretty, the first couple games. I don't think that's what it's meant for. We're supposed to figure out what looks good at doing and what fits for our team and our identity. and play to our strengths.
And how about Doug, like his approach to adversity from what you saw at the end of last season and already this year?
I mean, Doug was a player. He was able to deal with adversity in his career, and I think he's going to be just as fine with doing it as a coach as well. And he's a player's coach. He knows how to talk to guys. Guys respect him in his voice. So it's nothing new. Doug's a great guy.
You approach these next 2 preseason games. Anything you're kind of locked in on that you want to see from you guys?
Just keep getting better, and the more plays and the more defensive schemes we put in, how quickly we can implement them. When Doug draws up certain plays in the timeout, he'll throw out certain things that we haven't worked on just to see if we can figure it out in the game. And I think that's the time to do it now because it doesn't count. So you got to try to simulate real games as fast as we can.
What if anything are they asking you to do different than maybe you might be more accustomed to doing historically?
As a team or as me personally?
Individually, yeah. Is there anything in some of those schemes that you have to do differently?
No, I think, just for me more is probably just being able to create shots off the ball. Obviously, I might have my time on the ball and when they need me to, run the offense, but how to be able to space correctly and help guys out with just my gravity. If it's cutting, if it's coming off of a handoff the right way, things like that. I think that's something that they've been emphasizing.
You mentioned at media day, like you may not be Kawhi Leonard defensively, but you have the ability to guard out there. How do you feel like that's been going in the preseason? It seems like you've been really active.
I felt good. It's funny that whatever a narrative gets put out about somebody, I think it's fair or unfair. People can run with it, especially when they don't watch basketball as much as maybe we do. And I could care less of what somebody says about me. I've had to play defense. I've had to guard the #1 option in Chicago for the last 5 years. I've always been a pretty good defender. Now, off the ball, I've always had to have a little bit of work on that. But on-ball defense, there's not a lot of guys that's more athletic than me or going to get by me. So unless you guys haven't watched me a lot, obviously being in Sacramento, but I feel more than fine with being able to guard.
Where do you think that narrative started?
I don't know. I can care less too, though. But it is what it is. I'm not here to satisfy anybody. I know how good I am and what I do out there.
How do you feel like you did the last couple games?
I feel good. You don't ever try to get scored on, obviously, and you try to hold your own, hold your yard. But we're all have the right mindset of having each other's back and being aggressive. And even if it's like the first game, I think we're trying to pick up 94 feet. It's got to be a game plan thing. We're playing against Toronto it's a really quick point guard. Certain games you might not want to pick him up full court because you're playing into his hands, but you need to play better team defense. But I think the intent of everybody getting up and pressuring and playing more offensive, you're trying to make them dictate instead of waiting for them on the defensive end. So I think they were doing a good job of that.
You've spent a lot of time around DeMar, obviously. What does it look like with him at the 4 if you guys decide to go small at times?
I mean, with him at the 4, we'll just be playing 3 guards or 4 guards. It's not just because you label him a 4, it don't mean anything. We'll probably be switching 1 through 4, and then we'll obviously have an advantage on the other end. Just because you're small on the defensive end, they still have to guard you on the offensive side. I played with DeMar enough, and you guys know how he's one of the best scorers in NBA history. So, put him in an element to where he can take advantage of that heads up, and then you'll be okay. We'll be able to help each other on defense enough to where we can take an advantage of it on offense.
Speaking of defense, do you feel like the narrative that you and DeMar can't work is something that you guys want to do that you can't actually have in here in Sacramento?
I mean, I think we've shown what it looked like when we did work out. We were the #1 team in the East for a reason. We were both All-Stars for a reason. Now there's a lot of things that go into that outside of individual play. We've shown individually we've been able to play and be as good as anybody in the NBA. Now we got to be able to put that in the team concept to where you need a healthy season, you need the right pieces around you, you need the right leadership. But I think we're up for any task. And I speak for myself, but I know I can speak for him too. He's more than confident, so I've never lacked confidence myself.
How has a few days of practice been for you guys?
It's been a lot of playing, a lot of fun, a lot of competing with each other.
Can you tell that they're going through a couple things, trying to figure out how to replace Keegan in this?
Yeah, a little bit. It's a big loss, but when your brother falls down, you got to pick him back up. So
how do you kind of maybe look at the possible opportunity there?
I'm just trying to stay ready. You never know when stuff like this can happen, and pray for quick recovery for him, but just trying to stay ready.
Are you ready to take a bigger opportunity if it's promising?
Yes, sir. Always.
How do you approach that? Doug has said sometimes they make small ball, sometimes they play big ball with you. Just how do you approach that?
Again, just trying to stay ready, do whatever he tells me. I just want to play, so if he tells me out there, be a small ball 5, that's what I'm going to do. Go rebound, that's what I'm going to do. Whatever he says, I'm ready to do it.
Have y'all had, you and Doug having discussions, since the news about Keegan?
They're just telling me to stay ready, could have an opportunity, and when it's my time, I got to be ready for the moment and play hard. So.
Do you like what you've been able to put on tape so far through the preseason?
No, I feel like I can play a lot better than what I have been playing. But building, it's brick by brick, step by step, I'm going to get better. So.
What does that look like in practice for you so far in terms of have you seen reps with the first group, or are you getting more reps with the second group, or?
A little bit of both. I mean, we mixed up the teams a lot, so I've played with pretty much everyone, and just trying to feel how it's to play with different groups and stuff. So,
are there some combinations that have worked well or look good so far?
I think I play really well with Domas. I think I can read him pretty well, backdoors and all that, and he finds me. So I like playing with him a lot. But I love playing with all these dudes. Can't really pick one.
Areas of improvement that you were talking about, what are some of those things you don't mind detailing?
Can you say again? Sorry.
The areas of improvement that you want to work on, can you detail just a little bit of some of the things that you were trying to work on?
Definitely shoot the corner 3 at a higher clip, and just become more versatile on the defensive end.
Do they? I imagine you have a little bit more of a green light than you maybe had in year past or so. It's probably part of a little bit of an evolution there. How much do you see them being comfortable with you taking those opportunities from the 3?
Very confident. They say if I have any space and I feel like I can shoot it. But they don't care if I miss or make as long as I take the right shots. So it's a confidence booster for sure.
And it's been a part of your game, right? It's something that a lot of people may have kind of seen you do last year, but it's always kind of been there, right?
A little bit. I just got to polish it and bring it out more. Didn't shoot that much in college, so now I'm shooting a higher volume, so just polish it and keep working on it.
What's that feel like when a coach goes from, hey, don't shoot, to no, we'd like you to shoot that?
At first it's a little culture shock, because normally I'm looking to just move it, like set a screen or something, but it's nice, it opens up the game for everybody, so it's really a team thing.